Hi and welcome to the final video in this 4-part series to help you become a better putter. My name is Chris Ryan and I'm here at the Forest of Arden, and this video is going to be focusing very much on green reading. So far we've covered all of the technical aspects of the putting stroke, but we need to be able to read the slopes and the undulations on the green in order to pick the right line. We're going to go through something I call entry point, and we're going to cover a few little terms which are going to help you appreciate how to start your ball on that correct line more often. So welcome back to the Forest of Arden and welcome back to this 4th video in this putting series to make you a better putter. I'm hopeful that the first 3 videos have already had some positive effects on your game and you're already starting to take less putts during your rounds of golf. This final video we are going to talk about green reading, and green reading is very, very difficult to coach through a camera. Much easier when you can get onto the green, you can talk to people about the visible slopes, what you're looking for. But there's a few things that we're going to cover in this video which I think will help many of you out there and even just think about your putts in a different way. So we're going to talk about something called entry point, and we're also going to talk about something called start line and apex point, and just making sure we're aware of the differences. Your green reading should begin when your ball is on the green, or even before that. So I'm on this 15th hole, the par 3 here. Back on the tee, which is all the way up there, I should be able to see some of the slopes that are on the green already. So when I've hit my ball onto the green, as I'm walking up to it, I'm going to start to get an idea of the landscape. Where are the high points? Where are the low points? Are there any bunkers that are influencing the green? So, you know, think about your green reading as right from the point that you can see the green. And then when you obviously get on the green, you can be a little bit more precise about the bit of green that your ball will be rolling over. But your green reading should start earlier than we tend to see it in many occasions. So this putt I've picked here is a little bit of a right to left putt, and there's actually quite a bit of break on this. So the first thing we're going to talk about is something called entry point. So on a direct line from that ball to the hole, the front of the hole is here, the back of the hole is here. This would be the side of the hole and this would be the side of the hole. So if this was a straight putt, we'd expect the ball to roll in here, and we're going to call that 6 o'clock. So if you can imagine this was a clock face, 12 o'clock would be here, 6 o'clock would be there. Now we've established that this is a right to left breaking putt. So I have got a new front of the hole. I have got the front of the hole around about here. So if you can imagine this was 12, you've got 1, 2, 3, somewhere between 4 and 5 o'clock is the new entry point. This therefore would be the back of the hole. Now if I leave the tee peg there, it's going to stop the ball going in, so I'm going to put the tee peg on the back of the hole. So I would really like you to, on these breaking putts, think about the entry point. Where is that ball going to enter the hole? Because if we try and get it to enter here, it's going to be very difficult. We're going to miss those very low. And if we continue to miss them low, to try and get the ball to go into the hole, we often just start hitting the ball harder. And then we start to really struggle with pace control and green reading, and they never quite marry up. So new entry point is here. As I walk back behind my ball, I can then start to really visualize how that putt is going to you know, start off and go into the hole. So again, from here, that's now giving me a very, very different visual to this putt. So now let's talk about a couple of terms, and there are really 3 terms that we need to establish if we're going to read greens correctly. We're going to have a ball to target line. So that's very simply just a line that goes from the ball to the target. We're also then going to have what we call an apex point. So the apex point is where the ball is furthest from this straight line. And you can see that apex point is around about there. So what we've got now is on that green, you can see a straight line from the ball to the hole, and you've got the line that I want the putt to break on. So the start line, so where we want that ball to start off, is incredibly different to those lines that we've already got on there. So too many people will try and visualize the putt, see this apex point, and establish that that apex point is, let's say, 2 feet away from the straight line. What they'll then do is they will pick a point that's 2 feet from the hole and have that as their starting point. Now you can see here from that little illustration that if I were to aim at that point, it's going to fall very, very quickly off its intended line. It's going to miss low. For that putt, my start line is going to be excessively out to the right of where that apex point is, because the apex point is halfway, roughly halfway from the ball to the hole. The ball has already begun to break. It's already taken some of the slope early on. And very, very commonly, this is what we tend to see. If a golfer can visualize the putt correctly, that's one thing, but then they choose the wrong start line. They choose the apex point to start the ball as opposed to something that's way outside of it. So if I choose to point my putter at the apex point, I'm going to see it miss low 90% of the time, unless I can hit the ball with that much pace it to hold its line, or if I can start to maybe open the blade and get that ball started a little bit higher up the green. So aiming your putts at the apex point is a sure way to unfortunately miss plenty of putts on the low side. So I need to be visualizing my putt, picking my apex point, but then picking my start line very different to that. So I'm now trying to visualize my start line and seeing the ball breaking in onto that sort of 4 or 5 o'clock point on that green, with the tee peg being the back of the hole. Perfect. So very different way of looking at that putt. Apex point is something we need to really start to visualize, but appreciating that that isn't where the ball starts is a real key to being a better putter and being able to read the greens better. You know, like I said a minute ago, sometimes I'll see golfers where they can actually visualize the trace of the putt quite well, but then just choose the wrong starting point. So with green reading, it takes practice. It takes a lot of practice. It takes experience getting on the course, visualizing different greens, hitting putts, learning why it missed high, missed low, and understanding the terms that we've covered, the entry point, the apex point, the start line. And if you can start to get your head around those, I definitely think you'll be in a better place to read the greens correctly. So that completes this video series, these 4 videos helping you become a better putter. We've covered quite a lot here. We've covered start line, strike, pace, green reading, setups, all those kind of things. But some information there which I think can help you take less putts during your rounds, and that's going to lower your scores. It's a pretty easy way to lower your scores, is to target your putting and take those 37, 38, 39 round putts down towards the low 30s. Thank you very much for watching. All the usual stuff is down below. There's a comments box down there, there's a like button, and there's also a link to subscribe to my channel over here. Click that and that will allow you to be a free subscriber. Thank you very much for watching this video series. More coming very shortly. See you soon.